The Philadelphia Eagles made a flurry of roster moves on Tuesday that are yet to be confirmed by the team, but the first of which was kind of obvious and the others paint a picture of speculation. So here is everything you need to know about some important moves just 2 days after the team's crucial Week 1 win over the Washington Redskins. As always guys, before we get into this video, make sure you leave a like and hit that subscribe button if you enjoy this sort of content, and make sure you're getting your daily dose of Philadelphia sports coverage from myself and all of our writers at phillysportsnetwork.com. The first move of the day was a widely anticipated one, and that is that Malik Jackson was sent to injured reserve. It was revealed today that the defensive tackle sustained a Lisfranc injury, or a foot injury, on Sunday and is out for the remainder of the season, which is a real blow to the defensive tackle group, especially considering how hard Howie Roseman worked to build this group up in terms of depth and ensure that history didn't repeat itself in 2019. Jackson looked really good during his Eagles debut, and it's such a shame to see the carpet ripped from under his feet just one game into signing that 3-year contract. Now naturally, someone like Timmy Jernigan would be expected to rise up, especially after a very angry training camp, a very angry preseason where he's lost a massive contract with the Philadelphia Eagles due to the injury that cost him massively in 2018. So seeing Jernigan, the former Baltimore Raven, step up again as a dominant run defender, someone that can penetrate the backfield, is going to be a massive opportunity for him to re-earn that money, to get himself in a position to once again pledge his long-term allegiance to the city of brotherly love. As for Jackson though, in his last 3 seasons he started 42 games, accumulating 105 tackles and 18 sacks. A career high 8 sacks in 2017 set the tone, but his ability to penetrate the backfield and bring down running backs is really what stood out to the Eagles, and those qualities were more than visible on Sunday before his injury. So, who have the Eagles signed in his place now that they've got a vacated roster spot? Well, all reports are pointing towards Akeem Spence, the former Dolphins defensive tackle who reportedly worked out for the team today. The Eagles could have easily promoted Jernigan and Ridgway before calling up Bruce Hector to that vacant DT4 spot, but it may have left them with a steep drop off in talent, and we all know how Schwartz likes to rotate his defensive linemen. Instead, the Eagles worked out and later signed the former 4th round pick, who at 6'1", 303 pounds has 10.5 sacks since entering the league back in 2013. 2 of those came last year, where he started in all 16 games for the Miami Dolphins under Matt Burke, and that part is specifically important given that Burke joined the Eagles this offseason to be a special advisor to Jim Schwartz, so there's definitely some familiarity there already, and if anyone knows what the Eagles are going to get in Akeem Spence, will be the man that coached him last year. What's interesting though is that he spent 6 years in a 4-3 scheme before Miami only recently changed to what seems to be a 3-4 hybrid this offseason, so maybe reuniting with a familiar scheme will not only help him rejuvenate his career, but as we know, because Burke has that understanding of his game and his potential, they may be able to even harness it a little bit better and find a different way to use him given the extra talent the Eagles have already at the position. Dolphins head coach Brian Flores also spoke highly of him this past offseason, stating that he's athletic, he's strong, he's a hard worker. This guy works as hard as anyone we have on this team. He's obviously had some success in this league. We want to keep good players around, and unfortunately he just tippled down the depth chart. I don't think the drafting help matters at all, and now Spence finds himself in greener pastures, slightly tinted in the midnight vein. Spence, who played in 58% of snaps last year, could well see time at DT3 or 4 alongside Ridgway to begin with. It may take him a little time to get acclimated with the playbook, but if his ceiling is naturally higher than Ridgway's, who only played in 6% of the Colts snaps last year, then he may well take over that DT3 spot in hopes of securing a long-term deal. Elsewhere though, the Eagles made another roster move, and the 3rd tight end on the roster was only recently promoted from the practice squad, but Alex Ellis is already facing an uncertain future, which is strange to say considering that he played 22 special team snaps, the 2nd most on the team, after earning a spot on the practice squad following a stunning preseason given how little time he really had to settle in. It's not like the Eagles needed to move Ellis to sign Spence, so what's the deal? Well, we may see the return of CB Orlando Scandrick, but as for Ellis, before we get onto that, I think the likelihood is that he returns back to the practice squad should he clear waivers. If he doesn't, it's not the end of the world. The Eagles do have Joshua Perkins already on their 10-man scout team, but if he does, the process resets. Doug Peterson stated earlier in the offseason that they want that 53rd spot to become a flex position almost, depending on roster need on a week-to-week basis. It was tight end this week, and given the weakness of the secondary, we already already alluded to the fact that we may see the return of Orlando Scandrick, and that could well be the outcome ahead of week 2. Bringing back some slot security while LeBlanc heals on IR isn't exactly a bad idea given the teething problems that the unit faced on Sunday against Washington. Scandrick was among the best remaining free agent corners at the time the Eagles originally signed him, and would hypothetically arrive in Philadelphia on the back of a training camp and preseason with the team, along with a career resume of nickel experience. At 5'10", it's not hard to see why the Eagles would be interested. Scandrick spent last year with the Chiefs, playing in 15 games and starting 7, tallying a career-high 13 passes defense. He was drafted in 2008 by the Cowboys and was a key contributor in that secondary for 9 years that followed, before an off-season stint with the Redskins and the aforementioned resurgence in Kansas City. Don't be surprised to see him back soon. We mentioned earlier on that there could well be an Eagles cornerback by committee approach in 2019, and Scandrick may just have a role to play until either LeBlanc or Jalen Mills come back from injury. But that is it for today's video, guys. Let me know what you think of the roster moves down in the comment section below. From myself, Liam Jenkins, thank you so much for all of the support you continue to pour into this channel and our company, Philly Sports Network. I love every single one of you. You can follow me on Twitter at Liam Jenkins PSN. I'll see you next time.